In this video, I'm going to explain the setup of Business Snapshot, and this is really designed more for the system administrator to go through and help you install and set up the software. So the first step in your setup, you obviously need to install the FOB files that have been provided from your software vendor, and be sure that the software is accessible. And then there is some steps that you will need to do, but they're very minor, and I just review them here. So I'm going to go into the departments, because typically you're not going to be setting up the Business Snapshot from the Role Center. You'll go in from kind of behind the scenes, and we do give you access to Business Snapshots, but the main thing down here is the Business Snapshot setup. So this is where you would go to actually set up the snapshots. And it's very, very straightforward. Now, one of the first things I'm probably going to recommend is that you establish the chart of accounts relationship to the snapshots. The only way we can get all this statistical information and present it to the user is to be able to go through and say, okay, cash, what account is cash in bank? What account is your current asset account? Now, you always have the lookups, so you can use the lookup button to help you find some of these accounts, but you need to cross-reference the values that we need to do the statistical analysis, such as total assets. We use that number quite a bit in different locations, so we have to know what the client's total asset chart of account number is. Okay, it'll vary from one account, from one in user to the other. Same for the liability side. We need to know what the account's payable account is, and what percent of AP that this is that probability that you think you're going to be actually paying. This is outbound, so this would be paying 40% of that open AP. So that's where some of those probability numbers come into play. Let's move down a little bit further, and you'll see a few more of them here. In the AR side, you'll want to set up your accounts receivable account, and then what your probability of collection is in each of the aging brackets. So just drop in these numbers, and you could start with what I show here as a sample, and then expand it as you need from there, because you can always come back and kind of tweak these numbers, and you probably will. Then on the income statement, you're going to be looking at the total revenue, total cost of goods sold, gross profit, and then also here again the percent of open sales order documents that you're going to collect. So if you think you'll collect cash, this is again a cash issue, 20% of those open sales orders. It means you've got to ship, invoice, and collect 20% of those. Same thing for your open purchase documents, your POs. So I'm going to actually receive product and then receive the vendor's invoice and pay. So that's normally a pretty low dollar amount. Then estimated payroll per month, or payroll or other miscellaneous expenses. This is pretty much a plug number, so you just enter that value here. Enter your current number of employees, because we do want to actually analyze what our return is on the employees, how much revenue each employee is making for the business. Okay, and then down here there's some, it just shows what some of the values are based on what you've entered up above. And then the counters, I'll mention this as well. The counter 1 and 2 is the number of quotes. So here's the total number of quotes that you've done versus how many you have won. So the number of quotes turned into sales orders is tracked here, and you can then calculate the win-lose ratio within your quotes. And you can set these figures or adjust them if you need to. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. There, you will need to set up the users. So there, you set up the user views. This is important as well. Notice I've got Julia, Rick, and Sam. Let's go into my setup. So we'll just double click on that, and so I open that up. and then this is the quick accounts. I mentioned the quick accounts earlier in some of the other videos. Which quick accounts do I want to display when I'm looking at my business snapshot, because it is my personal business snapshot? Which accounts I want to display? Again, you name them here. Okay, these are kind of the defaults. And I'll mention this down here as well. You can allow for the user to change the departments or not. So if you say, no, this user can't look at other departments, and then you apply a filter, or you leave that checked, and then they can apply department filters within the snapshots as well. So there's a little bit of user control there, as well as what does that user get to see. So, for example, does that user even get to see quick accounts? Do they get to see current statistics, sales history, balance sheet information? Maybe you don't want them to see balance sheet and income statement, but they can look at some of this other stuff. So it just depends what access level you want to give to the user throughout the software. So again, there's a little bit of security even built now right within the business snapshot software. Okay, and this is very important to set this up. We often get a lot of calls why I can't get in, and it's because they didn't set up the user to be able to access that. So be sure to get that set up. And then the accounts that you want to see for your income statement, all you're doing there is you're coming in and you're just putting a check mark. Like I want to show the word revenue, I want to show the total sales of jobs, I've got that checked. I'm just showing the total accounts. You could check everything and you would see the level of detail, but typically on a business snapshot you just want a summary. So we're just trying to get a summary out here, and you can reverse the signs if you want to do that as well. So set that up for your revenue side, and then also for your balance sheet accounts you would want to set up which balance sheet accounts. Remember, I had very short lists, so I had just the word assets, and then down further on my balance sheet I had, let's see, I didn't have too much in there, did I? There we go. So total liabilities, equity, the capital. So I had most of these important ones down here checked off as well to display, but not every single. I didn't need to know about the few to payable account when I'm looking at a snapshot. That's a little bit too much detail. Okay, so that's the setup. Let me see if there's anything else I want to mention. Snapshot views. I think we've covered that one. Yep. So that's pretty much it. So that is your setup of Business Snapshot. Once that's done, again, there's no cube building. Understand the way this business intelligence works is it's all pretty much live, working right off of your live data. So just select the Business Snapshot setup, put in your chart of accounts, your users, and then the quick views for the appropriate chart of accounts that you want to display, and you should be good to go. Feel free to model it after the sample that we provide here. Thank you very much.